the man of the house. Men don't cry. Boys are the breadwinners. Man up. These are some of the things that we teach boys as they grow up, to be strong, and that vulnerability is weakness for men. In today's episode of the show, we're talking to some amazing gentlemen and a lady about how these things socialize for children as they grow up, affect their psychology and their relationship with one another. Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Luella Ipia and this is Straight Up. Sylvia, how you feeling?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. Good to have you.
Same
Sylvia is a journalist and a writer. She's also a YouTuber. For some of us, we describe her as Sylvia with the accent. You see, she has a great accent. Gertrude.
Yeah.
So nice to be with you. Thank you so much for coming.
The pleasure is mine.
And to my right, I have a gentleman who, by the way, you don't want to know. God love. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
How do you feel?
At the moment, I'm calm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it stays that way.
At the moment.
At the moment.
Hopefully, depending on how the conversations will go on.
So
So,
we're
Nice
talking
to
about
you.
something very sensitive. So I hope that you remain calm throughout and we don't storm out.
sure.
Great. We're talking about masculinity. And interestingly, I like to start with Godlove because when I was asking Godlove who he is, amongst the other things that he said, Godlove said he's a man. Wow. It was intriguing. So tell us, what did you mean? Why did you feel important to emphasize that you're a man? What does that mean, being a man to you?
Like a young Maasai child from Kenya, a man being, or for him, he says a man, or him being a man because he has a penis, and which is one of the features that I have.
Okay.
And the other aspects that you mentioned at the introduction of the program about not crying, not showing your vulnerability, not being in bed, going out and working, providing for the woman or for the girlfriend, and showing violence.
Okay.
These are all socially constructed things that have defined me a man.
Okay.
So in this case, I was not born a man, but as I'm growing up, I've been constructed to be a man.
Gotcha. I mean, where do you fit in that? Do you think that a man is not born? So there's, according to him, there's a difference between being male and being a man.
I'd like to, agreement with you, I should begin with that.
Okay.
Yes, your introduction simply are those constructions which have defined whom we grow up to be, from just being a toddler. I was told not to, to play with this thing we call in local parlance dollar baby. Doll, yeah, a doll. I like to call it pigeon. It wasn't meant for me.
Okay.
What was meant for me was the
Cars, guns,
drafts and things like that.
rubber gun.
You understand? And so many of my peers from childhood grow up in this way. They are not born that way. They are born into this and they've grown into this. To be men defined by this, I should say, patriarchal systems and things like that.
Okay. Patriarchal system. Sylvia, we are in an environment, according to the atmosphere that they've said, that we are coming into something. How is it for you? Maybe around your siblings or your environment. How have you seen men grow into these descriptions that they've given us?
I think that with all the men I grew up around, they at one point in their lives they meet up with these norms that are supposed to be. You don't play with dolls. You're supposed to play with cars. It's not manly to do this. It's not manly to cry. You even meet a man that is a talkative, and everybody knows that he's talkative, but they tell you that when it comes to your relationship, men don't talk. Don't talk like women. You're not supposed to talk a lot like a woman. So I think that every man in my society so far has had to meet up with some of these norms at one point or the other. What will definitely make you at the end of it is whether you choose to be that kind of man, or you choose to be the man that cries, or you choose to be the man that doesn't cry, goes to a funeral and the whole time it's like you want to explode.
Has to man up.
You have to man up, you don't have to cry. And let me be blunt. For me, it's a lot of it is pure rubbish.
Okay.
Why men don't have to cry and do all of that and all of that, because I feel like it's just killing them. I think that you can really see them breaking down, but they can't say anything because you're supposed to
They
be
have to be
strong.
men.
Yeah, they have to be men, eat gizzards and cry behind.
Kolo, now let's be very personal, very practical. Have you had these experiences of people telling you, you're the man, you shouldn't do this, you're the man, you have to be strong? I mean, if you're crying, what do you expect me, the lady, to do?
Of course, it's common
Okay.
from secondary school days. I remember from Form 2 already, getting into puberty already, getting to Form 2, they're already building, or I was being built up in a way that I don't have to cry. You know, like I don't have to fight with the girl, I have to beat her.
You have to
She has-
win.
Yes,
You
I
have
have
to
to
guys
win.
fight, you have
You
to
know,
win.
I have to win.
Maybe sometimes, and you're even a weak person, maybe just saying. No, I'm saying that
She's not
maybe
saying that
you're
you're
weak
weak.
as a
Because
man,
now
but
She's
you
not
have
saying
to
that you're
fight.
weak, so you don't
yes.
have to. Don't worry.
Of course, no, I
We
don't
know
take
that
it
you're very
personally.
strong.
I don't take it personally. I am
And you
not
see,
strong.
you see,
You're
You're not
not
putting it into
I
that
like
mailbox.
that this is coming from Sylvia saying that she's weak. That's that construct.
Okay.
Saying that me who cries is weak. Why am I supposed to be referred to as weak?
I don't
No,
think
we're
that-
talking about fighting.
I don't think
We're talking
that.
Yeah, that's not the context. No, I'm borrowing her word, the word weak.
Okay.
You understand? Because he who cries would be referred to as
weak, yeah.
And so the men who actually don't want to be, as I said earlier, find themselves in this inexpressivity. They get to, they're now referred to from the other end as you're being weak, you're womanly. And there are these stereotypes that come with the other people who want to be themselves, who want to be who they really are.
Yeah.
Just,
Really
just
natural
because you
crying.
mentioned it, why is vulnerability associated with women and weakness? Why? I mean, that you cry. I mean, it's a way of expressing yourself. Why does
Yeah.
it have to be vulnerability? Why does it have to be associated with women?
Actually, I cannot for sure say where this is coming from. Of course, it's coming from the system.
Which system?
Patriarchy,
Okay.
which is just like capitalism in the shortness of it. And of course, those who benefit from it, they try to romanticize it and they try to paint it in a kind of nice way that, you should not cry as a man, because when you cry, the women are laughing at you because it may be crying is for babies. Or we know children cry because they have fewer words to say, so they cry to express some of these feelings. So I want to guess that one of the reasons might be that crying as an elderly person, you are being considered like a baby, kind of,
Baby.
like a child, kind of. And also in the mailbox already, what I call the mailbox, which is what you name the box that is closing us the mails. One of it is for us to be strong. If you read Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo's biggest fear, he had cut the heads of 5 men in wars. But his biggest fear was to end up like his father. His greatest nightmare was for his son, Nwoye, to become a woman. And so he was so happy when his son will be grumbling at home and say that, I don't like this, your women thing. So he was proud. But this was a book written in 1958 or published in 1958. It therefore means even before 58, there have been stories that have been constructed on how an African man should look like. And one of them is not to cry. You should go to war, you should fight. They should not draw a line and then you don't cross it because you are a man.
Cross this line if you're
So
a man.
this is one of the issues for a man. And let me talk about a little bit about violence and men. From science, when you study the wars in South Sudan and in Kosovo, we have many men who are fighting. And when it comes to peace work, you have many men who are into peace work than women in these crisis regions. Why is it like that? It therefore means even the systems of NGOs and of the system of wars and the politics of wars still use men more in this violence. Means we are confirming what we already believe.
Now, Gotchan, we are in this system that glorifies men, or almost everything has to be to men's gratification. Of course, with the ideology that we have, how do you think that shapes our experiences, your experiences as gentlemen? How do you relate with other people? How free are you to really express yourself?
Just a while ago, I was sharing with Sylvia how I had a surgery in December last year, and though the pain was really grilling, I don't remember shedding tears. However, an emotional pain made me to shed tears. And I was sharing with her, for the very first time, I felt very relieved. And I remember God was asking me if, how did I feel? Did I actually shed
Yeah, and I was asking you if you
tears?
felt good when you cried.
And I said, yeah, I felt very good because it's something. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I got in touch with myself, which is what a couple of us men and boys
Don't get to experience.
don't get to experience, getting in touch with your real self. Because these constructs have defined us, who we ought to be, that we tend to, when we get to this wall where we can no longer, we cannot express.
Well, you're not supposed to talk past
We're not
that
supposed-
wall. You're just supposed to react.
The next thing we do is we resort to, what's this thing this British psychology calls non-congruent behaviors, aggressiveness.
Okay.
That comes in,
Exactly.
aggressiveness, abuse of drug comes in. This is coming in to replace what we cannot externalize. You get the point? So I really think, for me, my personal experience, it really is very relieving, and I feel relaxed, I feel calm when I have to externalize my pain and not hold it, deep within, because I'm constructed, I'm defined, I'm a man.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Straight Talk, and we are talking about masculinity and how we have constructed masculine to be something abstract, something that men cannot really relate to. Now, Sibia, Godlove mentioned patriarchy as a system that is the source of all of this. Do you feel that a lot of men benefit from the system, so they don't see the other side of it, which is all these things that Goshen is explaining? Do you feel that, okay, they benefit from it, and so let's forget about this other side of it?
Yes, I definitely think that there are a lot of men that pay more attention to the benefits, and they don't really take time to come into their own people to be able to see that part of the reason why you feel so broken most of the time, part of the reason why you feel like you have to rely only on yourself, because one of the issues of toxic masculinity is that men find that they have to be self-reliant. No matter what, you would never really find a guy asking another woman for money, because it's not the male thing to do. You will not find a man really expressing himself and like, I'm frustrated, like I really want to cry and all of that, because it's not the male thing to do, which is simply because they feel like as a man, I have to do this. And these are part of the things that make a woman to respect me. Okay. These are part of if I cry in front of a woman, she's probably going to think I'm weak, and so she won't respect me. If I do this, I'm going to feel vulnerable. And generally, we know that men do not really associate well with vulnerability, because the idea is men are supposed to be hard, men are supposed to be strong. It's just like what Chimamanda said, there's certain saying that she has about part of the reasons why men, one of the worst things we do to men by making them feel that they have to be so hard is that we leave them with very fragile egos. Because no disrespect,
exactly.
But at the end of the day, I really have a lot of respect for any man that can cry. What was that?
So fragile egos, right?
Yes. And
So those that men want us to massage their egos, don't make me feel bad. I mean, I'm the man.
like, look at what
And I'm
he's
the
saying.
woman, me, I'm the woman.
He's talking about a guy that has cut off the heads of 5 people, but his biggest fear is having his son end up
Not being a man.
not being a man as he's
Yeah.
supposed to be, which is to show you that at the end of the day, that is his biggest problem. But to every other person, he's a man because he has killed other men, because he has killed other people. But deep in him, that is really what is aching. That's what keeps him up at night. But he cannot come to you and be like, Nuela, at this I actually fear, because he's afraid that the minute he steps up from there, you're going to be like, do you want to even man? Like
that.
you're not a man.
So do we feel that, how can we redefine masculinity for you?
I think I might talk about redefining feminism,
Okay.
not masculinity,
How is that?
because masculinity is going to come in the feminism.
Now you have my attention.
And just you mentioned Chiamanda, she says feminism is like pregnancy. It's either you have it or you don't have it. So it's either you are for it or you are not for it.
Not for it.
And for me, I will define it as giving equal opportunities to emotions, to economics, to politics, to everybody. So I want to talk about people, not about male or female or man or woman. This is the simplest way that it might be for anybody to understand, not to go deeply into gender politics. But I would like that we end it at this level for defining masculinity. What do I mean by equal opportunities and equal opportunities in general? The first thing is that the patriarchy that we have today, especially in Cameroon, is being supported by most of the young ladies of today. I'm sorry to say this.
No,
Okay.
How is it?
Don't be sorry.
No,
On behalf of the ladies, we're
I'm
fine.
sorry that the ladies are supporting this unconsciously.
Oh, okay.
You get a young man who has a bike and is running his Okada. He wants to get married and you want a wedding that he will spend so much money, which you are not bringing in your own share of the contribution, right? You are pushing him into somewhere. And when you read the article by Dr. Valerie Hoodstone, the article is Losers in the Wedding Market. You find out that men get into cattle stealing in Kenya and South Sudan and Ethiopia in order to meet up to these standards of the women. It therefore means there is also some other pressure that is not just coming from it's coming from the system, of course, which is also supported by the women who are also romanticizing their pains.
So can we say
And then this
that
circles
women
back to-
exactly, because
Yes,
we're just a channel. So as much as you men, for example, internalize the idea that as a man you have to be strong, women as well have bought into that ideology that men are the
A man has to
providers, a
provide.
man is the breadwinner.
Exactly.
But-
So the way I see it, we are both victims of a system that says this is how you should be and you have to
But
conform
Nella,
to it.
I think we should focus about shifting the balance,
Okay.
right? Our focus now should be about shifting the balance, bringing a gender revolution and changing the narratives. This is what I will recommend now.
Okay, great.
But I find myself still in this mailbox because in a relationship I still pay for the bills when
Your
I
girlfriend
go
is
out with my girlfriend, right?
Okay.
And I have a friend, a lady. I love her so much, but each time we go out, she says, "God love, it's not about that you pay. I pay for this." And she does this comfortably. This for me is what I term a gender revolution, whereby it becomes normal that me, God love, will sit down and I am drinking comfortably, paid by a lady, not having a guilty smile on my face because a lady paid for me. Come on, what's that? Before I end, I have gone to 2 swimming pools in Bamenda here about 5 times. And I see the competition that young adults get into. Who swims best or who will carry a girl on the back to cross the swimming pool. These are people who are not even swimmers. Because they are trying to fight to please, to win a maybe favor from a lady. And you want to ask, but why go through this channel?
Because men are in the frame of you have to be athletic, you have to swim.
Because as a good man, you have to
run.
go to the gym and carry iron, right?
Exactly.
And do sport. Then when you see me with my one pack, it becomes a taboo for men, or like I am not.
Gotcha.
He's finishing you.
So
Gotcha. What's the way forward for you? How can we help men to just be men? Just be a human. Just be yourself with your flaws, with your vulnerability, with your weaknesses. Because we all have those weaknesses. How can we help men?
I come a little from God love's perspective. One, a gender revolution. We kind of equality with the sexes, and I want to look at maybe provision of should I say
Breadwinning.
no health. I'm looking at health.
Okay.
I want to look at health services that look critically at raising the consciousness about this is what you men go through. You should be conscious of this. And I was reading the scientific papers I said earlier, and a good number, about 67 or so percentage of men in Great Britain do not see a physician in a year. This is a construct. Because you showing that you're not healthy, you're not strong, makes you womanly, you're weak. So, coming in from the point of health services, I think it's going to be a real boost, to raising that consciousness, that sensitization, to let men know, okay, you're not in touch with your person. Let us
Okay.
get you to that. With the
Great.
gender revolution, I think.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. What is your way forward? What is the way forward for you?
For me, I think that would have to decouple breadwinning and men,
Okay.
which starts from little boys. Because we started like jokes. You're in nursery school, you're asking your nephew, how many girlfriends do you have in this class? How many wives do you have? You're really making to internalize that it's okay to have a lot of women and you have to provide for all of these women. And the more you grow up, a lot of other guys make you understand that as a man, you have to pay the bills, you have to pay for everything, school fees, rents, right down to Chanel bags and all of that. But I think that if we are able to decouple breadwinning from a man, it makes everybody feel like we all have to pick up our slack. And it makes the pressure on the man less. Because statistics show as well that IPV, intimate partner violence, is very high in homes in which the woman earns more than the man. Because there's always the feeling that if I earn more than you, then I'm probably better than you, I'm bigger than you, in all of that. And a lot of men feel that, don't you?
I feel that. I
You
feel
feel that? Okay, thank you
Yes,
for being
I have
honest.
to.
So,
I'm
and
very much because of that.
I'm
Oh,
honest.
really? He broke up because of that.
you broke up.
That's how serious it is.
That's a show for another day. But anyways, I'm saying I really feel that if we can decouple breadwinning from men, if we can decouple that responsibility, I think that they'll grow up freer with the possibility to feel a range of emotions, feel broke, feel like you have money, feel happy, feel all of those things, which is going to put down a lot of the pressure and generally just give us a better quality of life.
Great. Thank you guys so much for coming. I mean, I know that we can go on and on and on with this
And
conversation.
my final words, Nella. My own final words. I am a nursery school and primary school teacher, so it starts from there
Thank
to
you.
change the narratives.
Really
help
forward
us.
to
So
that.
that all the teachers listening to me or the parents, you don't define task and say that this task of digging yam pit is for men or for the male children and weeding the garden is for women.
Okay.
Anyone should do what the person is comfortable. Let the kitchen not be, first of all, a taboo for these young children to go there if they want to do something. So we start by deconstructing the constructions that we have about gender roles. When we start from there, I think already we can start changing the narratives a little bit. And what I am saying, they are my opinions. They are not generally acceptable facts by all the men. So they are my own recommendations. So maybe somebody doesn't get it personal, but try to also reflect from my own point of view.
Thank you so much. And your point of view actually should be everyone's point of view because your experiences are similar to men. As men, you have similar experiences. Thank you all so much for coming. We can continue this conversation as we move forward. But guys, that's all we had time for. Men, don't carry the pressures that you carry. Please let the women, let those around you support you. Vulnerability is not weakness. Until next time on the show, thank you so much for watching.